everyone. As part of our series of webinars titled The Indulge Time Pass, we are pleased to bring acclaimed filmmaker Gautham Menon to you for the session titled Filmmaking in the Time of Lockdown. Of course, Gautham Menon as a brand is popular across the country, not just in the South. He's known for popularizing the urban romance genre and many other aspects of filmmaking, including personally reinventing how songs are shot in cinema. And this is something that has been corroborated by a lot of important filmmakers, including Vetrimaran. His Varanamayiram, of course, won a national award. So did his production, Thangameendu. Gautham, it's an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sudhir. Hello, Kaveree.
Hi, my name is Sudhir Srinivasan. I am the entertainment editor of the New Indian Express, and we have with us Kaveree. Kaveree, if you want to take over.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Gautham. It's such a pleasure. And thank you, Sudhir. As I told you, I'm a great fan of Cinema Express, especially the misrepresentation column. And Gautham, your work, of course, is so well known, and I absolutely adore it. But what I think we really want to start off with is the short that is created quite a buzz, the short film that you made during the lockdown. And it's sort of divided a lot of people as well. I think especially because of the Jessie character that Trisha plays. So talk a little about the reaction to it and the whole process of shooting it as well, during this period.
So I've been writing some stuff, generally looking at feature film scripts, and I was trying to work on a couple of ideas. And then somewhere a conversation with Simbu and the producer, of course, and I started writing an idea which ended up becoming a sequel to Dinamani, a film with Simbu and Karthik.
Yeah.
And then it was going well. I liked the writing. And at some point, I thought I'll put a stop to that and see if I can put together a series of conversations between two people. So I want to film something. It's not that I wanted to do something, I'm sitting jobless at home and stuff like that, but I was passionate about filming something. I thought, let's just put together something now, because nothing was coming out anyway.
Right.
And so I thought, why not write a series of conversations between two people? So I picked a couple of characters from my own films, and I wrote conversations between them. I wrote an interrogation between a cop and a gangster, a phone call between a cop and a gangster, and a phone call between a father and a daughter and stuff like that. And then I thought I have to ask a few actors to, come on board and help me film this and stuff. And I wasn't sure whether they'd be readily willing to come on board so easily for a shot. And then I thought Simbu, if I ask him, for anything, he'll say yes. So I pulled out the scene from the sequel of Vinetandi Varuvaya, and I called Trisha, I called Simbu.
Right.
And I said, let's just shoot this. And they loved it. And we discussed the pros and cons of, the writing, what Jessie says and what Karthik says. And Simbu did mention, like I've been saying over a couple of days, that this will get talked about. There'll be a meme of me sitting on Trisha's lap. So I said, yeah, let's just go with it. I mean, this is edgy to a large extent. Let's push the envelope a bit is what I thought, and we shot it. It was very difficult to film it during the lockdown because we shot it remote. I was in my place. I directed Trisha and Simbu sitting in my house and telling them what to do, checking the frames and getting frames recorded and sent to me and then sending it back to them and stuff. Right. And then once we edited it again over Skype, I sent it to Rahman sir and he said, yes, I'll do this. So the rest, as they say, is, I don't know.
Is meme.
So Gautham has mentioned that he's been writing conversation between some of his very popular characters, including Satyadev and Victor from Yenna Arinda, yes. And quite a few of the other characters as well. Now I keep hearing that while these times should logically let people write a lot more because everybody is stuck indoors and the internet is working and the electricity, and not for everybody, of course, the privileged people. But to borrow a couple of lines from a song in Varanamayiram, a lot of people seem to be complaining that Padutha Thookamu illa en kanavula tholla. Now, have you had any such issues, or has productivity not been a problem for you?
No. I think everybody went through that. I mean, you could just analyze this and find out that I think everybody went through that. Some days were great, some days were blah, which is what I've been actually saying, And some of the writing that you look at the next day was horrendous. You're wondering what you were writing. So this was what I thought I liked a lot, which is why I decided to put out. But largely, yes, Sudhir, it was not. I think when we work under a lot of stress and pressure, deadlines, and we have to meet this and meet that, then the writing actually is good. But when there's no horizon in sight, and then you just sit back and you're wondering and you're writing, I don't think the writing is really great. It was not easy to churn out stuff. So the easier thing to do was to pull out characters that I'm familiar with, like Satyadev and Victor, like you said, and probably Anbuchelam and somebody else, and just sort of their mind, you think their personality and stuff, so you start writing based on what they would say, which is how Karthik and Jesse, ended up.
Gautham, as an additional question to this, you spoke about how the practicality of making a film sort of got you doing KarthikDialSeythaYenn because Simbu and Trisha would be readily available, of course. Keeping aside this practicality and whether other actors would have immediately agreed to feature in any of these other films you've written, the shorts, of course. What other ideas were you particularly excited by?
Well, I think the conversation between Satyadev and Victor, somewhere in between the film that you saw, turned out to be really edgy and nice. But then I wasn't sure if I can even, call up the actors and ask them. I didn't want them to think that I'm making use of the situation. And I don't know what, I don't know how people will generally think. Then I decided, okay, maybe let me, just act in it. Then I thought that'd be, too much again. So, which is why it seemed sort of nice to just ask Simbu, and he readily jumped at it, and Tisha, of course, she just read it and she said, I love it. So let's just go ahead. But otherwise, interesting stuff, maybe not to film immediately. There's a lot of other stuff that's going on in terms of writing. And I'm hoping once everything settles down, I'd be able to sort of jump in and just film that very soon.
I'd love to see a series of shorts with these conversations, So I think let's just put out there that there's public demand for all these actors to come together and shoot it for you no matter what. Because it's a fantastic idea, isn't it? At a time when, we really are in need of talking to each other. We're also feeling so lonely and cut off from each other. The idea of conversations between, some classic, iconic characters is a brilliant idea, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm actually putting out all the stuff that I wrote on, but that's okay. We also had there was a nice 10-minuter on a bunch of classmates just connecting over a Zoom call or video conference, and everybody bringing in their own. Not too much talk about COVID and what we're going to face and all that. Nothing bleak or anything, but just sort of what are we looking forward to, and within the conversation, their personalities and characters come through, and you realize who these guys are and all this. So that's also there. I'm saying if there is an extension, and that's generally the word that we're hearing, I think I might just film this next. And it's easy to put together a bunch of young guys. I don't think they'll have any problem.
So let's put it out there. Can they all just agree to be part of this series of films? Yeah? Sudhir?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure, I mean, you guys put the work and look more interesting.
Sure. We'll get a hashtag started right away. No, I mean, Kaveree, you spoke about conversations and how, at this time especially, when we're trying to regain human connections.
Yeah.
They're particularly important. Now, I want to ask Gautham Menon this. He's always emphasized the importance of a family setup.
Yeah.
And some of his films, many of his films have contained, as he has admitted, autobiographical elements from his own life.
Yeah.
And right now, at this time, many people have spoken out about, how the lockdown has forced them to come to grips with the realization of how important the family is, and how they're getting back in touch with a lot of the people that they've taken for granted. What about you, Gautham? Has there been any personal revelation for you? Even for Gautham Menon, who's always spoken about the importance of a family.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I'm a sort of a homing bird. I don't shoot on Sundays. I try and spend a lot of time at home. I participate in a lot of stuff at home. I'm not the male in the house, sitting separately. I'm sorry to say it, but yes. But this was sort of even beyond all this was a revelation, because it's 24 hours being at home. And strangely, you realize that there's so much more you can do at home. There's so much more bonding. There's so much more spending time, And I think I've got to understand the boys. I have 3 boys. A lot more over this 1.5 months. And somewhere, I know it might sound a little bit strange, but I'm thankful that this actually happened. And even before, there was this rat race, so to speak. Everything was time bound, and we have to do this next week, we have to do that in 10 days, the dates are going, and all very related to my work, I'm saying. And then suddenly you put a stop to all that and nothing matters, all that rush and, that adrenaline that was pumping towards something, all that didn't matter. You had to step back and you had to sit quietly and wait for things to open up. So it's just a revelation that anything can happen, and are you ready for it, sort of, and that's a huge learning that I took away from, and the people who are after me doggedly all just stepped back and said, yes, you're always right. You were not pushing for many things, and good you didn't push, because we realized it would never have happened, So in that way, it's been a huge learning for me and for a lot of people around me.
Gautham, how old are your boys? You have 3 of them. How do you manage them?
Well, it's almost a cricket team at home, so fun.
How old are they?
Because they're all cricketers. They're very young, 17, 13 and 11.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes,
so they play cricket?
Extensively, yes. And even during the lockdown, they managed to figure out ways to train, and you see a sock hanging with the ball inside, and they wet the tennis balls and they're chucking at each other and all sorts of fun. So I participate now and then, but yeah.
What fun. But Gautham, I just wanted to put a question to you. You have, you abandon projects, take them up, you've gone to Mumbai movies, Bollywood as it's called, seen how it works, not always been very happy. What has that experience taught you? Because you don't seem to be pursuing things relentlessly. I mean, you talked about how people backed off as well during this time, but you yourself know when to back off. You know when to draw the line and say, okay, I can do this much, but I can't do more than this. That's very unusual, isn't it?
So everything is on a whim and an impulse, if you ask me. There's never a plan. There's no project that's come to me saying, this is the design, can you get into it? Other than probably Queen, which I love directing.
Right.
It came to me, the script was there, the content was put out by Reshma, and I loved it, so I got into it. Right. But otherwise, every feature film of mine is something that I've sat to write with no idea of where the script is going or what I'm going to write on day one.
Right.
Or what the first words are that are going to appear on my laptop or my iPad or wherever.
Right.
So everything is on a, just take it forward as it comes sort of a thing. So there was one film which, I shot for 25 days very honestly with a bunch of youngsters. But then they were all not really, what's the word? They were not adept. They were not like good at it. And they were struggling and they were not able to find my rhythm and I was not able to find their rhythm. And it had Rahman sir doing the music. I just decided I'm not going to shoot this anymore.
Yeah, I believe you decided you won't do it anymore.
Yes, because I knew it's not going to work at this rate.
Right.
I had to reshoot a lot of stuff.
Right.
So I just, the only one person I had to apologize to was Rahman sir. And I said, sir, some other time this will happen. And instead of that, I pitched Vinay Tandi to him. And that's the film with Karthik and Jesse that, became a musical blockbuster.
Right.
So that's why, Kaveree, I just take it as it comes. My filming is also like that. Everything is experimental.
Yeah.
I believe every work is experiment. There's no discussion as such with 10 people figuring out, is this line okay? I'm just saying, for example, if I had checked the script of Karthik and Jesse with you, you would have probably called me and said, don't get too indulgent. Maybe Karthik should just say, I need you and leave it at that.
Right.
You might have told me that. And I might have said, yes, okay, Kaveree, you're making sense. But I didn't, right? I think it's an experiment. I want people to talk about it, thrash it, or tell me they liked it. So that's how life has worked. From love to everything else has been like that. So,
right.
Yeah. Right. But even in terms of the boundaries of experiment, directing two actors from the confines of your home would have been quite something for you when you set out to make this film. Now, I want to ask you this. Now, did you think of this as an experiment as well, or did you have a process well mapped where you were reasonably assured that this was the output that you were going to get? Did you just wing it? I'm never
that, Sudhir. I'm never sure of what I'm going to get. I'm very confident when I see the frame and then when I see the actors performing. There's never if I feel there should be like a one more take, it'll tell me. Otherwise, if I get something, I'm good, I move out from there. So it was challenging because, I was telling them what to do over an online conferencing thing. And then it took much longer than ideally we were filming this in 3 hours, at each of the actors' place. But it took like the whole day. So like you said, it was challenging. Again, a learning. And would I do it again? Yeah, I would do it again.